Good evening. I'm going to call the Marlborough School Committee meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So, Mrs. Murphy, filling in for Mr. Bergeron, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bergeron's report. Last week was our annual Faculty and Staff Appreciation Week. The superintendent asked the committee to join him in thanking all of our dedicated employees for their contributions to the school system as a whole. Thank you to Framingham State University. On April 27th, Calliope Panizopoulos and Ron Sanborn joined Superintendent Bergeron to speak to graduating education students who are about to enter the workforce. The superintendent appreciates FSU inviting him to speak and the opportunity to share a bit about Marlborough to hopefully convince a few students to apply here at MPS. We have a wonderful partnership with FSU and have student teachers in our district. And he hopes we will continue to expand into other areas together around training and licensure. On May 2nd, Mr. Diaz and the superintendent answered questions from the City Council at the Finance Subcommittee hearing. The video should be available soon on the WMCT-TV website, and he encourages the school committee to watch it to gain valuable feedback from the City Council on our budget and long-term priorities. Superintendent congratulates me on my appointment as a superintendent. And the superintendent would like everyone to join him in welcoming Rupal Patel as the next principal of the Jarrick Elementary School. The superintendent worked with Rupal for more than 8 years and has always considered her leadership and voice an important part of our district. He makes his appointment with great pleasure and is excited that this announcement is being shared with the community here. If you don't know Rupal personally, I will share a brief biography. Rupal received her master's in elementary education from Lesley University in 2007. Later that year, she began her career at the Marlborough Public Schools as a paraprofessional at the Jarrick School. The next year, Rupal accepted a position at Jarrick as the newcomer EL teacher. In her 16 years at MPS, Rupal has taught our EL students in grades K through 8. She spent 5 years as a grade 5 teacher at the Whitcomb School before becoming the EL coordinator at Whitcomb Middle School, where she also served as the Akaruno Exchange Program Advisor for 5 years. Last year, she took on the role of remote learning supervisor for the district, returning to the role of elementary EL coordinator for Jarrick Kane School this year. Rupal also serves in leadership roles on the district's ABAR committee. In addition to her role as an educator in the district, Rupal proudly served as the president of the MEA for 6 years, representing members of the Unit A. Please join me in congratulating Rupal as she begins this new chapter in her career.
Yeah, speech. Button. Okay. Sorry, I had to write it down because, I'll forget. So, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be appointed the next principal of Jarrick School. I'd like to thank Superintendent Bergeron, even though he's not here, for having the faith in me and for giving me this opportunity. My journey to this point has been somewhat unconventional. But I'm ready to take the next step and work with the other elementary principals and the new superintendent to make Marlborough and Jarwick all that it can be. I'm excited to lead the school where my career in education and Marlborough began 16 years ago. Thank you.
Yay! Any questions from the committee?
Oh, guess what?
Oh, Mrs. Hennessy.
First of all, I actually want to say congratulations. I'm thrilled for you because I feel like I've watched you along the way in so many facets really be a true asset to this district, and I just think it's an incredible step for you, and really just shows that you can really make your own way of finding things, places in this district, and you've done an incredible job, and I can't wait to see what you do for the students at Jarwick as well as the staff. And I was thrilled to hear about this opportunity for you. I know last year when you had assumed the remote position, I mean, that was a big deal to have to go through, and you figured it out, and you really made a lot of inroads with the staff and encouraging them in something that was completely unknown and brand new. So thank you so much for saying that you wanted to do it, and I can't wait to see what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Oh.
I just wanted to add to Catherine's comments that another great example of promoting from within, and happy to see you take on this leadership role, and can't wait to see what other great things you'll do. Congratulations.
And I'm just going to add that I knew you even before Jarwick, and when I first met you, you were an artist, which just, bringing that level of creativity to all of your work has really shown through the years. So I know great things are ahead for Jarwick School. Very exciting.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I do have one more question. Sorry, not for Rupel. Oh. Sorry. Thank you, but no. Actually, Mary, I just wasn't sure, and I know with Mike needing to not be around right now, you guys may not have had any opportunity to discuss, but I was curious if you all are putting together like a transition plan, and if you have, great, but if you haven't, are we going to be talking about that so we can kind of, I know because going into the summer it starts to get a little wonky in some ways too, so.
Yes, Mike and I have already started to meet about that. A couple of our meetings this week have been postponed, but we will continue. Just about every day we have time set aside so that we can talk about the transition. Picking up from his entry plan, which I believe he is going to be presenting as part of his evaluation, to revisit that, and looking for where I can pick up on that and move it forward.
And I guess my other reason of asking is figuring that you're probably going to need for us to be available for you at some point, shortly after you would start, so that we can all make sure that we're kind of all on the same page. And so I guess I wanted to kind of throw that out, that we probably need to figure out from a workshop standpoint, timeframes sooner rather than later, just knowing that I want us to be available for you, and just recognizing that people's schedules, especially over the summer, zip
Yeah,
it.
it's all about Hennessy. Yeah, maybe we can ask Patty Sibilio to, maybe set up a doodle or something so we can kind of figure out who's on vacation when and schedule something.
Which we have done with the leadership, the administrators in the district already. And I have a phone call set up tomorrow to talk to the superintendents about the induction program as well.
Excellent.
For tomorrow.
Yep.
So
Great.
Once I'll know those dates too, it will allow me to look at the schedule a little bit more
Great.
closely.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you.
Perfect. Any other questions regarding the superintendent's report? Moving on to the assistant superintendent's report.
This month I wanted to highlight a couple of educators in the district. MCAS standards panel, Marlborough High School physics teacher Zachariah Tan has been selected to serve on the high school introductory physics standard setting panel for the Massachusetts Comprehensive Assessment System, better known as MCAS. Zach and the other panel members will make important recommendations about the physics MCAS test in the future. Massachusetts Council for the Social Studies Awards. The Massachusetts Council for the Social Studies will recognize 9 Marlborough educators at their annual awards for teaching social studies programs on May 14th. Marlborough High School teacher Sarah Casey will receive the William Spratt Award for Excellence in Teaching High School Social Studies. Marlborough High School's teacher Pat Kiley will receive the George Watson Award for Excellence in Teaching Economics. Middle school teacher Carolyn Cadell will receive the John Riley Excellence in Teaching Middle School Geography Award. And Superintendent Bergeron did share at the last school committee meeting the Supervisor of Humanities Jody Reyes, Communication Coordinator Jill Moran, and Whitcomb Middle School Civics teachers Shauna Delaney, Clayton Hobart, Christopher Lowe, and Emily Welton-Reese will receive the Recognition of Excellence Team Awards. So exciting news for our social studies teachers.
So are these new awards? Like, or have we just never been?
These are state-level awards,
Yeah.
so I think that this is, I have never heard of this recognition before, and to have so many nominations and so many awards is truly amazing. Yeah.
Way to go, social studies.
Yeah.
Awesome. Can I ask a question about the physics MCAS?
Yeah.
Didn't they drop? I thought that they were changing the science MCAS and dropping parts of it. Remember, you could choose to do it in all 4?
You could. They are dropping some of them, like the technology and engineering one, I think, is being dropped. Biology is continuing, and physics is they're being aligned to the new standards. So the transition has been slower. I'm not quite, I do know one of our teachers has applied for the chemistry. We just haven't heard yet. So that could be continuing as well. So I don't know what the other one, maybe environmental science. There was another one that was dropped.
Oh, I thought there were only 4, biology, physics, chemistry, and engineering. Yeah. There was a 5th? I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, I remember hearing that they were paring it down.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad they're keeping physics, because that's the basics of everything. It makes more sense for them to do physics. Okay, super. Any other questions? Seeing none. Thank you very much. Okay. Entertain a motion regarding acceptance of the minutes of the April 12th school committee.
Motion to accept the minutes.
Motion made and second to accept. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carries.
I'll vote.
You're abstaining?
Abstaining for the moment, thank you.
1 abstention. Entertain a motion regarding the minutes of the April 26th school committee meeting.
Motion to approve as presented.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 1 abstention. Any opposed? Seeing none, it carries. Thank you. Public participation. So if you can, please state your name for the record and your address, and try to keep your remarks to 3 minutes is our rule.
I'll do my best.
That's okay, thanks.
My name is Kelly Mattheuli. I live at 58 Ridge Road in Marlborough. I am here today as a parent of 3 children.
Oh, sorry, there's a button. Push it till you see the green light. Okay, sorry.
Better? Yes.
Yes, much better.
Members of the school committee, my name is Kelly Mattheuli. I live on Ridge Road here in Marlborough. I graduated Marlborough High School as Kelly Rayano in 1999, and I am now the mother of 3 children currently in Jarrick Elementary School. Before I start, I'd like to thank Mr. Caruso for his response to my email and the phone call. Thank you very much. And to Catherine Hennessy and Denise Ryan for the replies as well. Thank you. We have a lot of we're very frustrated. We've had, our oldest son has been in the Jarrick school for about 6 years now, right from kindergarten. And I know I've been told by another member that this is not a school committee issue. However, our specific instance is not a school committee issue, but you as the committee can certainly help to make sure that it doesn't happen to anyone else and ensure that administrators are held accountable and your policies are upheld. My husband will take you through the specifics of what we're advocating for when he speaks, but right now, please just listen to our experiences. In each of these cases, we spoke with or met with the teacher first, then the principal, then the superintendent. Following this meeting, we're happy to answer any questions about details. Our son Daniel's issues at Jarrick began in first grade, although this was not a bullying incident. In second grade, our son was the victim of what we believe was bullying. There were multiple occasions where one specific child had physically hurt our son, including places his hands around his neck and punching him in the back of the head in class. We also have a nurse's report stating that our son was treated for a head injury sustained by the same child at recess. My son's teacher did everything right, removed the child from class each time, but it still took a meeting with the teacher, with the principal, and with the superintendent before any action was taken. And we are not informed of any formal investigation or finding as per policy into the events when they were happening. We did learn just yesterday that the Jarrick administration determined the physical violence our son was subjected to and the fear he had in grade 2 was not bullying. Now here we are again, this time in 5th grade. My son was bit during class, and again his teacher did everything right. She removed the offending student from class. I got a phone call from both his teacher and the school nurse, assuring me that the student was out of class for the day and they would be separated during class and for the remainder of the year. However, the assistant principal saw fit to put my son and the child who bit him on the bus together, without any instruction to the bus driver, consultation with us as parents, or warning to our son, working in direct contrast to the retaliation section of your discipline and bullying policies. This failure is unacceptable, especially in light of additional information the school's administration already possessed. From the day of that incident, it took the Jarrick administration 16 days to place a behavioral tech in the classroom, which does include April vacation, and it took 25 days from the date of the incident for them to determine our son was, yes, in fact, being bullied, during which time we met separately, first with his teacher, then the principal, then the assistant principal, then Superintendent Bergeron and Superintendent Mary Murphy. Had we not been as vocal and as insistent as we have been, there is no indication that the Jarrick or Marlborough Public Schools administration would have acted. That has not been our experience. It shouldn't be this difficult to make sure your child's school is taking the necessary steps to protect their safety. Our son also has other advantages that other students would not. I grew up here, I know the city, I went through the schools. We speak the same language as everyone we are meeting with. And I stand before you today as proof that he has 2 involved parents behind him. Not every child in the district can say that. Imagine removing just one of those advantages, and this process gets even harder and more unmanageable, especially through the eyes of the child. During the superintendent search forum with Assistant Superintendent Murphy, she stated that she knows that bullying policies have not been followed. She has been very generous with her time in the last week and has been very open to our experiences and has listened. Thank you very much for that. That's a great first step. However, I urge you as the school committee to continue to hold our administrators accountable for upholding the policies you yourself have created. We respectfully ask you to put Daniel and every child in this district who may have been bullies, may be fearful of attending school because they've been targeted in some way, in your mind and your hearts. They need your voice because with our experience, our voice and his voice have proven not to be enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, can you just state your name and address?
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Macchioli, and I reside at 58 Ridge Road in Marlborough. Vice Chair, members of the committee, I stand before you tonight to echo the words and sentiments of my wife, Kelly, who you just heard from. I also stand here as a resident of this community, a voter, and most importantly, as a father, whose anger, frustration, and disappointment have hit levels I didn't know existed. The experience of my son, Daniel, and the response of the JARC administration have sadly shown me they do. In fact, twice in the last 4 years, we've been forced to keep our son home from school for his own safety. And that doesn't include the year we kept him home due to COVID. I won't rehash what Kelly has already discussed, but I will invite each member of this committee to speak with us after this meeting. Instead, I want to focus on the responsibility of this body and the steps it can take to address some of the issues we've experienced as a family. And I know there are some members of this committee who believe the solutions reside only with the principals and the superintendent. I would argue that as the body responsible for setting policy, approving the budget, and hiring the superintendent, your oversight responsibility is crystal clear. While you delegate the responsibility for the daily execution of the policies you set, according to policy 2.600, you are, quote, solely, unquote, responsible for adopting and revising the district's policies. Policy 2.615 additionally states, quote, through the study and evaluation of reports concerning the execution of its policies, the Marlborough School Committee will exercise its obligation to perform its duties. Its obligation to perform its duties. This is what we're here to do tonight, and brings me to policy 1.300 on bullying, which this committee approved. In fact, I believe it did so 4 years ago this month. In recent discussions with Superintendent Bergeron and Assistant Superintendent Murphy, we have been told by the Assistant Superintendent, and I do want to thank her for meeting with us, that bullying policies and procedures have not been being followed in Marlborough. And we've been told by those officials that the language changes for that have been with a lawyer for, quote, months, unquote, now. Yesterday, we were provided with a different explanation regarding the situation by Assistant Superintendent Murphy, and told it appears only JARC is not following the policy you set. And while we understand from Superintendent Bergeron and Assistant Superintendent Murphy that plans are being developed for trainings heading into the next academic year, we believe more must be done. With that, we have 4 requests of this body, all of which we believe fall under its purview. 1, undertake an immediate and comprehensive review of the bullying policy and any associated procedures. This would include plans, everything related to bullying. 2, work with outgoing Superintendent Bergeron and incoming Superintendent Murphy to fund an outside review of disciplinary procedures and decisions at the JARC, particularly as it relates to bullying. This is not out of line, especially in light of the fact the incoming superintendent, which you have selected, says JARC is not following the bullying policy. 3, it's our understanding from Assistant Superintendent Murphy that the school adjustment counselor is supposed to check in with the target of a violent incident. We can attest that did not happen in the case of our child being bitten. In fact, we were told by the principal that this is not always the correct course. Here in Mental Health Month, we urge the committee to codify in policy, not procedure, that an adjustment counselor, or in the event of their absence, because this did happen in the case of one of the incidents involving our son, the adjustment counselor was not there, and the principal took it upon himself to try and have the conversation. And we'll be more than happy to answer questions about how badly that went. To have another mental health professional speak with the target of any violent act or potential act of bullying prior to any disciplinary decision being handed down against an aggressor. It should be factored in. It should at least be considered. There may be things that the school is not immediately aware of that they need to know in considering that. 4, establish a working group to consider and make recommendations for the creation of a family and student advocate. The maze of student privacy laws makes it virtually impossible for parents of targets of violence and bullying to know outcomes. That's something we knew going into this process, and we're very clear with the principal, the assistant principal, and everybody we talked with. This makes it extraordinarily difficult, however, to trust that the right steps have been taken. And I'll be more than happy to discuss in further detail with any member of this committee. But I would ask, put this group together, give it a target at the end of the year so that a position can be looked at for the next budget. Madam Vice Chair, I know I've gone past the 3-minute mark. But I wanted to ask if I could just have maybe another 30 seconds. I know he's not here today, but first I'd like to thank the mayor for his words and advocacy during the discussion on the 4 superintendent candidates last week. I believe he indicated that doing the same thing will lead to the same results. And while I'm grateful for Assistant Superintendent Murphy's time, and I know he was talking specifically, or at least I believe he was, about academics, I think his words are incredibly relevant in the areas Kelly and I are discussing tonight as well, and we want to thank him for his leadership. Lastly, I would say coming to this body and publicly addressing the situation our family finds itself in is not a place we or any family wants to be in or should be in. Standing here tonight was not the first step or even the fifth. In fact, some of you may have seen me sitting here, I think it was 2 weeks ago. This incident had already occurred. We wanted to get as much information as we could, understand what happened, not jump to conclusions, and come to this group with solid information. Standing here tonight was not the first step or even the fifth, as I said, but we hope it will be the step that will spur much action. Thank you, and I look forward to speaking with you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Action items, Superintendent of Schools, formal announcement. Am I supposed to be doing that?
Yep.
Sorry. We had a lot of minutes on this agenda here. Where is it? Okay. Okay, on April 29th and May 2nd, the school committee interviewed 4 finalist candidates for the position of superintendent of schools. On May 22nd, 2022, the school committee voted to appoint Mary Murphy superintendent of schools beginning July 1st, 2022, pending contract negotiations. There's the formal announcement. Do we have to vote on that?
No, we already technically
Right.
did.
Moving on. Aspet Valley Collaborative Capital Reserve Plan Revision.
I can speak to this, Madam
Thank
Vice
you.
Chair, if you
Thank you,
allow
John.
me.
Please.
So in 2015, the school committees representing the districts of the Aspet Valley Collaborative, of which we are a part of, voted to create a capital reserve fund and a capital reserve plan. To ensure that the AVC's capital reserve fund will serve current and future capital planning needs, AVC is requesting approval from member districts to revise its capital reserve plan. The recommendation is that the school committee reviews the letter that's attached to this action item for a vote on the 24th. And if I may summarize, the existing capital reserve fund is for $722,500, and ABC is requesting to increase that to $1.5 million. And it's also increased to enhance the scope of the fund to allow it to not only improve the Orchard Street Academy, but all of its buildings. So there's no vote tonight, it's just a letter for your information.
Okay. May I just ask a question? So when I was reviewing it, this is it's a revolving fund. It makes it sound like, because you can only use the money for certain.
It's these are funds for a specific need.
Yeah.
And it's funded through their budgeting process.
So, and they identify $1.5 million worth of work that needs to be done. So that's how it always was, that 750 they were only allowed to.
It was originally established to improve the Orchard Street Academy.
Yeah.
But this new proposal would allow them to extend it to other buildings, and it even says, so this is a proposed expenditure plan.
Yeah.
But you can see the first item is to either replace the roof of Orchard Street or allow the organization to search for a new building.
Did we sell them that building?
I believe it's city-owned.
City-owned?
Orchard
So
Street Academy.
Yeah. The old Bigelow School.
I'm not 100% certain.
Yeah,
but I
it
believe
is.
it's city-owned.
Well, and I
still.
remember, because the collaborative was always there.
I
What?
thought it was like a 20-year lease or something they had.
Yeah, so why do they have to replace the roof if they don't own it?
Part of the lease
Part of the
agreement would
agreement?
be certain maintenance
Got it. Okay, so this just is tabled until
the next
till the
school committee
24th?
meeting for a vote, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, can I ask an either or on that,
Oh,
though?
of course.
I feel a little awkward that we're looking to kind of approve money, and it's like, maybe we're gonna do the roof, maybe we're gonna be buying or leasing a different building. I kind of feel like putting the cart before the horse. Why am I approving all of the money if we don't know what they're gonna do? So I do have concerns about that, and I'm voicing that now, because to me, go find me the building and I'll let you know how much money I'm gonna approve. You know, so I don't know. I'm just saying that out loud, that I think that if you want approval of money, then show me why you're spending the money and what it's for, as opposed to a blank check.
So,
So, sorry, not
absolutely.
loving it.
And I'm happy to gather some more information for the meeting on the 24th. I believe we, as member districts, would still have a voice through their budgeting process. Our superintendent has a seat on their board. Actually, Superintendent Bergeron is the vice chair of the board, so we would have a voice on how the funds are utilized in the future through that budget process and a vote from the board.
Which that's good, but that's only one vote. And I guess I'm expressing to my committee members my concern, because if we don't really know what it's going to be used for, I'm not quite sure why I'm going to approve a raise until we know what it's really being used for. So, could be just my own opinion. I'm just voicing it so others can hear and consider, since we're not going to move forward on this until next week. But if they have some more money, I'd be more than or more information, I'd be more than happy to consider it. But right now, I'm not really feeling much of an onus to start raising something when I really don't understand what its intent is truly. So come back to me when you have more information. So just me personally. Thanks.
Doug, can you remind us how many districts are in the collaborative? Do you know offhand?
I'm not sure.
No, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
honestly not sure.
No worries, I'm sure I have it somewhere. Thanks. Any other questions? Seeing none. Thank you, Mr. Diaz. Okay, acceptance of donations and gifts. Bose Corporation, $119,400.
Motion to approve with gratitude.
Motion made and second to approve with gratitude. These are actually, it's not dollars, it's actually earbuds
Yeah,
at $200 a pop, so
yeah.
pretty,
great.
pretty generous. I second it. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carries. Shutterfly, Richer School, $959.93, and Kane School, $1,106.55.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Just a question, I made the assumption that Shutterfly is now taken over doing school pictures. That's what, we don't have Life Touch anymore, we have Shutterfly now.
It seemed like it.
Okay. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carries. And Nina Bradley, MHS cooking classes, $100. I might add, this is a student at the high school who made a donation towards cooking classes.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carries. Thank you, Nina. And box tops for education, Whitcomb School, $18.30. Kane School, $7.40.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carries. Thank you very much. Reports of school committee subcommittees. Any subcommittees, Mrs. Hennessy?
Thank you. So I just really, on behalf of the policy subcommittee, I wanted to say thank you to the full committee and the administration on moving forward the last 2 school committee meetings in my absence. As you all are aware, I was with my father, who was on hospice and then did pass at the end of the month. And the reason I'm saying that is because I really do appreciate everyone coming together to try and continue to move forward the business that had been before us. I know that I still need to formalize those policies that were approved at the last meeting. I specifically just need to go back and check everything and then get that to you so that we can put that onto the website. But I really wanted to say how much I appreciate this community, because as I went through the buildings to try and go around to thank people, it really helped me to recognize how much this has meant. It means a lot. And so thank you. When I say that, I look over at Eileen and Hattie, and from the staff, the students, everyone sitting here, it meant a lot to have the support. And so I graciously thank you all. And that appreciation is because of the dedication that over the years, there's a lot that we do, and it goes unnoticed in some cases, but it also made me realize how much I love being a part of it, and I don't mind all of the things that go with it because it counts. It matters when you see the impact that you've had on the community and the students and the staff. It makes it all worth it, and I appreciate that. And I will get forward on the policies that are due so we can get them up on the website. And to my subcommittee, may we go ahead and set up our next meeting that had to be missed while I was away. But thank you to all of you, because it's by everyone working together that we get things done. So thank you.
Super. Anyone else? Is anyone signing the warrant? Did we make a plan for that? I will sign the warrant.
Thank you.
After. Members forum, but before we do members, I want to include our student rep and see if, Hattie, if you have anything you'd like to say. Yeah, I think so.
I am finishing my final days of high school as a senior.
Oh, your mic's not on.
So, as I'm finishing my final days as a senior in high school, you know, I'm trying not to be too excited. It's just amazing to see almost how beautifully this transition after a very hard year of, you know, online remote learning. And I know as a student, I was really nervous this year how going back full force into school was going to go, but I feel like Marlborough as a community has handled it so beautifully, especially at the high school. There have been so many opportunities for students this year, whether it be in the music department or the sports department, for students to just come back and, you know, try to have almost a normal school year after everything that we had to go through these last couple years. So it's really nice to see the community just bounce back like that.
And you have at least one more meeting with us, right?
Yes, I have actually the meeting where all the student positions get to come and speak, which are always super interesting for me.
On the 24th, yeah. Perfect. Great, thank you. Thanks, Hattie. Members forum. Mrs. Hennessy already did hers in the last.
Policy related.
Anyone else? No? Entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:09.